Hello, everyone. Welcome to our Tukul session number 25. And we thank you very much for finding the time to be with us in the Tukul. We really appreciate the fact that we get the opportunity and we give it our attention to meet here, talk. This is a session that we do every Saturday. And it's a free space. This is a safe space for all of us. So let's embark on the discussion and with all the freedom. Tonight, we are going to have an open discussion. So we do not have lead speakers, but I would really appreciate that we have contributions that are coming in from the colleagues that I've seen in the Tukul here. I really feel happy that we have colleagues who are doing a lot outside there, and they have joined us tonight. So we'll keep it like an open discussion. This is usually how we do it. The point is dropped, and then we all talked about it. Raise your hand, of course, so that it is like one mic at a time. So we'll give you the mic, and then we'll keep the conversation going. Oh yes, so tonight we are going to keep it a bit sensitive. I feel like it's going to be a bit sensitive, right? Because the topic that we are talking about is, it's like an invisible thing, a bit hidden sometimes. Most times we take it for granted. But yeah, what are we talking about? Double standards. We now live in a society where people have the access to, let me say, the social media right there, and all these spaces where people express themselves, and sometimes we are talking about things like politics. We talk about feminism right now. Hey, Juba, it's a big topic. And then we are talking about international politics. This is happening now, like globally. And then other issues like tribalism. I'm now going to keep it open. These topics, sometimes when we approach and we want to talk about them, we might not be considered enough for, like, say, other people's point of view, or maybe we might not be that close, to the objective reality. So that's why we said, let's bring this to the Tukul tonight and we discuss it. Yeah. So the main topic that we're going to dwell on is the double standards, right? I feel like, where are the double standards? But from our perspective in the Tukul, we just said, okay, there might be double standards around so many things, right? But now tonight we just want to keep it to five things. But also, as we exhaust the topic and everybody share their opinion, we want to keep it. That's why we said, and other more things. So yeah, let's do a quick recap. Feminism, monogamy, polygamy, polyamory, and international politics, and tribalism, and every other thing in between this. Oh yes. So I'm opening it right now for discussion. And the first thing is, do we have double standards around this topic called feminism? Maybe somebody can define it for us, and we see we really have double standards around this. General D, what do you think? Putting on the spotlight straight away. How are you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm putting you on the spotlight straight away. You have been talking about this thing called feminism. Oh. How do we define it in Juba in the first place? And tell us if there are double standards you have seen as General D.
Well, first thing is feminism. The actual concept of feminism has been hijacked.
Okay.
So we do not have the right definition right here in South Sudan.
Yes.
Feminism, it's a movement,
right,
that was established to champion the cause of women, basically.
Yes.
So when I hear people defining feminism as something that is fighting for the rights of both men and women, I'll be like, no. This is the first mistake they make in calling themselves feminists.
Okay.
Yeah. So feminism is a movement that works to champion the rights, privileges, and the overall well-being of women.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you know any topics that's the feminists in South Sudan, or in the context of South Sudan, the key topics, the talking points around feminism in South Sudan? And do you feel that, hey, the way people are talking about this feminism thing, I am afraid that there are double standards. How do we bring that to
Well, they
light?
have,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. The first challenge or the first issue they want to address
Yes.
is the cultural status or the the cultural aspects of women position.
Yes.
Yeah, and they tend to look at key things like
I don't know whether I'm losing you already.
like
Eh? Your voice is faint.
women and
Okay,
marriage.
go ahead. Mm-hmm.
They look at things like women and career.
Mm-hmm.
They look, yeah, women and marriage, and among the things that they try to look at, and free will consent to marriage, and the idea of bride price and its significance.
Okay.
Most of them have not understood what bride wealth was about and its intention, and still they want to they want these lavish kind of weddings,
Yeah.
which in most cases they do not want to spend on, which brings in the aspect of double standards.
Okay.
They want the man to be the one spending on such luxurious weddings.
Yes.
For those who subscribe to customary prestige, they want their weddings to be done in a very cultural manner.
Yes.
And with the cows being exchanged between the two families.
Right.
But still, they are fighting that concept altogether. So that's the first thing. Number two, you find that they are fighting for equality of work in workplaces, equal work, equal pay, opportunities for them to apply and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But again, they don't want to to stand the competition of application if the opportunities are made available. Instead, they are pushing for affirmatives, which is more or less like saying whether we are qualified or not, give us. And again, they would say they want to be equal with men. Why would they be given if they want to be equal with men?
Okay.
You also see that they are fighting things to do with sharing of roles. They say they shouldn't be gender roles, but again, there are traditional roles that are meant for men, like carrying heavy work, doing the heavy work, providing security in the house, paying school fees, house bills, and stuff like that. They don't want to partake in those roles.
Okay.
They don't want to partake in those roles. So, in other words, they want men to serve both roles, and they just get the privileges that come along with such performances. So there are a lot of topics that are coming up, and you see that they want the fair side of the story, but not the one that puts responsibility on them. Yeah.
Thank you, D. Oh, man, you should be writing a PhD in this thing. you already have you already have so much content, and I really appreciate, man. I think as the discussion unfolds, we really want to dive into this, and maybe do we validate this contribution? And I see a hand from Stan. Stan, I'm giving you the mic. Welcome.
Thank you very much, John and the team. I think this side of the equator is slightly different. So I think when the women, take to the streets or to the constitutional court or to the parliament to want to raise gender-based violence and other issues, I think it is within their rights, and I think they are highly supported this side to say in many of those cases that General D mentioned, that they want equity, and I think it is valid to say we are capable to do more or less the same job.
Okay.
Let us be paid the same job, and I think you've seen it in sports as well, where female teams are paid lesser, and it is still the same sport codes.
Yeah.
The teams go to the Olympics, and then the females are paid lesser or recognized lesser.
Right.
So I think it is valid. Where there is maybe double standards, it is the inconsistencies.
Yeah.
Especially that comes within the leadership of those that are leading these movements.
Yeah.
That you find that at times it is these leaders who themselves become the victims of gender-based violence at home that they enjoy. So basically, they do not necessarily practice what they preach to other people. So I think that is the inconsistency. But then, nonetheless, I think this is a good cause. I think they need to bring their issues to our attention so that we can deal with them. And besides, after all, women speak, so that certain things can be unlearned, so that we can then reshape the world, towards some form of balance. When it comes to polygamy, monogamy, it still goes to that certain people will speak differently about how they feel about polygamy, but at the end of the day, it exists because certain people agree to be in polygamy. And so if there was consistency among men, among women, then certain things would be rejected by the society. Remember what we say about products. We say if a product is rejected by a market, then it will cease to exist, because no production is going to be done for a product that is not bought by anybody. And I think it goes this side as well, to say as long as there are participants, as long as there are favorites of a particular act, then I think that act is going to continue to exist in our society, whether it is bad, whether it is not bad. And I think that is where we stand today. International politics, I think, I don't know if we have an understanding, but in international days, I think we need to have an understanding of what is it that is happening in the global world before we can maybe take a particular decision. People are making an example of the US having invaded Iraq with the pretense of the knowledge that there were weapons of mass destruction there. And the case of Russia invading Ukraine because Ukraine wanted to expand its interest towards NATO, which is mainly, the affiliates of the West. And the fear there is that if the West are going to take much more of an interest, it means you are closer to us. It is easily for them to turn you against us. It is easily for them to invest their intelligence and other methods closer to us and eventually take us on. And I think we want to keep them at bay by keeping you as our ally and as our friend. So that's why we cannot at all agree that you affiliate with them. So I think those are the issues that are there in the political world, that when it works for certain people, it works. When it's other people, then it doesn't work. But I think overall, beside that, I think human lives, human rights are much more important than the war itself, and to say who is right, who's not right. So I think that is then the essence of as long as certain decisions are taken without affecting human rights, human lives, then maybe we can then be happy. So I think both sides, at the end of the day, then it doesn't come right. Tribalism, we've got even this side, we've got certain people who believe they are better than everybody, that they think only presidents will come from them to rule everybody else, including the other people. Whereas the Constitution would say every citizen has got a right to stand to become the president of the country. And then that is not necessarily then recognized when it comes to tribe, because some tribes will feel we are this particular tribe, and then somehow we were given that anointing by some gods or some people to be superior than other people, which is totally wrong. And I think if you look at that, that distorts progress and prosperity within many countries. And I think in Africa, and we've got many cases in Africa, Zimbabwe, South Africa. I think even that side, I think certain people think they are better than other people, and I think it's just plain nonsense. You cannot have a right as a human and be born in this world, whereas then you're going to be declared inferior by other people by virtue of them being whatever they are. Immediately when we declare ourselves an image of God, then I think we have to then stand there and say, okay, then it means as children of God, as the image of God, we can be able to do whatever we are can be done with the talents that would have been given by God, and not necessarily by a particular community or society. And the irony of it is that we can reject John and say, even if John would have studied in the best university in the world and would have bring ideas that are going to help us, we're still going to reject them because he is not one of our cultural group.
Yes.
And we'll say we rather die with hunger than let John bring in agricultural methods that we know are going to help us, and they're also going to help us the neighboring, just because he is. But in the Bible, I mean, it is clear that God doesn't choose from a particular country; He chooses whoever they choose, and so that they can then be blessed. That's why Joseph had to go to Egypt in order to save his own nation. So I think it is certain things that we have to think deeply about, to say who said you were important, and why do you think the other people came to this planet to be inferior than you, whereas you eat the same meat and maize meal as them? Why don't you eat gold? Why don't you eat something different and survive? Why don't you drink salt water from the sea, so that then it shows that you are totally different? Why do you eat the same food as everybody else and you declare yourself much more superior than them? Out of what? So I think it's those things that we need to look deeply into, especially from the young point of view, so that as we grow from generation to generation, then we try to correct some of those issues and values that were given to us, but then they were not correct. And I think we did not even ask. We thought, if they said we're superior than them, then that's what we want. But we know in our hearts of hearts that is wrong. So I think I'll stop there, John, and I think I'll give the team a chance. I'm sure there are other ideas, and I think we can look into
All
this
right.
as well. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Stan. Yeah, that was quite a good overview right there, and so many points already. I'm taking note of that. I'm really learning in this.